Do you masturbate?
You know.
I begin to.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe if you haven't. Okay, so today, as promised, we're talking about, I keep wanting to call it Sex in the City, but I have to remember it's And Just Like That, Season 1, Episode 1. Okay, so here we go. First off, I want to talk about the outfits. I think everyone looks very on character. Miranda, she's worn dresses like that in previous episodes, in the movies. Charlotte's very Charlotte looking, and Kerry, well, let's get into it. Okay, so I just wanted to give a little clip and detail about what she's wearing, who she's wearing, where you could get it as a knockoff for cheaper. I think she looks super on point. She looks very Carrie-like. Everyone was hating on her outfits, but honestly, I think she looks great. She looks super trendy. She looks super Carrie. She looks amazing. I love that they didn't put her in some old lady outfit. Okay, back to the first scene. So we have the girls meeting up for brunch. So sad Samantha's not there. I keep waiting for her to show up and she never does. But anyway, they make a quick joke about like, do you remember when we had to stand 6 feet apart? Haha. Bitsy Von Muffling shows up and she asks where Samantha is. And Charlotte's like, oh, she's no longer with us. So right away, Bitsy's like, oh my God, like, did she die? What's going on? Then they're like, oh no, she just moved to London. They kind of make Sam like the villain, and the fact that they discussed her instantly in the opening scene I thought was a little bit crass, but I get it. We have to get it out of the way. People want to know what's going on. It just breaks my heart she's no longer in the series. Like, it really, really does. Okay, so the next scene shows the three of them sitting down to have their brunch or lunch, I'm not exactly sure. And the first thing out of Miranda's mouth is, I stepped on a condom in Brady's room today. Brady being her son, who's now a teenager, who apparently they allowed his girlfriend to move in and they can have sex all over the place and leave condoms on the floor, which is disgusting and makes me think like, what the hell, Miranda? What kind of parent are you? Like, I feel like she would never have allowed this. I don't know. It was gross. Whatever. Weird way to open the scene. And then Charlotte meets her friend. Not too much else happens. Okay, next scene we have Kerry and Miranda. Miranda's walking Kerry home. And they're just kind of discussing Brady for a minute. And then they start discussing Samantha and how she hasn't returned anybody's texts. And how they're all upset because Kerry had to fire her for being her publicist. And when she fired her as her publicist, she fired her as a friend. And that's pretty much the scene. Okay, so in this scene we have Charlotte. She just got home. She has these two dresses for her daughters, Lily and Rose. Lily's about to have a piano recital, and she wants them to wear matching dresses. Then comes in Rose, who isn't into it. She's not interested in wearing a dress, not her style, not her thing. Charlotte gets all offended. She gets mad at Harry for touching the walls, which is very odd to me, but it is what it is. They just make her a nag. Okay, so this next scene we have Carrie and Big, and it breaks my heart. They're so happy together. We finally see Carrie and Big happy. The relationship we've always wanted to see in this whole series and all the movies, finally. And they have this cute little dinner routine that they say they started during the lockdown, that they're going through his jazz albums and rock albums alphabetically. And it's just this cute little ritual they do every night before dinner. It's adorable. They're super happy. They have cute little banter between each other, as they always did. And they just make him seem so perfect, and she's so perfect with him. And they're so happy. And I know what's about to happen next. And it just breaks my heart and it makes me so sad. It's just a bittersweet moment in the whole series because they're finally happy. They're finally where we want them to be. And it's not going to last yet again. Okay, so we have Miranda and it's supposed to be like 10:45 in the morning. She's headed to this new class that she's taking, a law class. And what the hell is she wearing? Like, Miranda would never. She didn't wear dresses every single day, and she definitely wouldn't wear a blazer like this. Everyone's been making fun of her hair, but I think in this one, this is her natural hair. It doesn't look like the wig just yet. But yeah, and then we have her meeting her professor, and in the classroom, she makes a total ass of herself, saying things that are completely racist and ageist, and just she says everything wrong, makes herself seem like the biggest Karen you would ever meet, which is so not Miranda. Like, sometimes she's awkward and says the wrong thing, but she's very smart and very educated, and they just have her like, she almost seems like a suburban housewife, Karen, ignorant, stereotypical, just fool, like white lady fool. It's really cringy and embarrassing, like every time she talks. And then what are they both wearing? The professor's dressed like a child, Miranda's dressed like an old school marm. I don't know, it's just a lot. It's a lot. And Miranda's super apologetic because she knows she sounds like an idiot. I don't know. I can't. Like, it's just so awkward and it's so cringy to watch because it's not the Miranda that I know. It just really isn't. Okay, so here we have Kerry at her new job. She no longer writes the sex column, but she works at a podcast with Che Diaz, the superstar of the show, the non-binary super woke character that everybody loves, and Kerry is now a has-been. She's the sidekick of the show, which is super annoying because Kerry was popular. She wrote books, she went on tours. She was a big deal in Sex and the City, and I feel like she should have her own podcast and be just like a feature on Che's podcast. Then we have this guy who's the what are they calling him? The cisgendered male character. And then we have Kerry, the cisgendered female character. And then we have Che, the super woke character who everyone loves. Also, they're a comedian. And you know, I think it's a great thing because people like me and older generations, we need to be taught about how to speak properly as to not offend anyone. Just learn things that we didn't understand, that we still don't understand. It's actually taught me a lot of things, so I'm super grateful about that. But I'm just sad that Carrie's looked at as this has-been character and she's kind of made fun of. Che takes her down to the lobby and they're in the elevator. Che starts smoking weed and says to Kerry, you got to step your pussy up. And Kerry, because Kerry gets all awkward because they start asking her crude questions about masturbation. And it just clearly makes her uncomfortable because her column was always classy. I mean, like, I get it. Obviously, it's a new thing. But I low-key feel like the cisgendered female and the cisgendered male in this podcast are almost made fun of. They're looked at as a joke. And Che is the serious character. Che is the one that is smart, successful, has it going on, and Kerry just looks like a has-been, just looks like a joke, and it makes me really sad because Kerry was super awesome to all of us in Sex and the City, and I just wish that she had her own podcast, she had her own thing going on, and that she just did like a collaboration with Che, because the character Che I feel like really is needed. And like I said, it's already taught me a lot just watching the show with a lot of the woke button moments, but I miss old Kerry. It's kind of sad. Okay, so classic scene of Kerry sitting at her laptop writing notes for her podcast. Anyways, I love to see these clips. I love to see classic Kerry at her laptop writing. Obviously, she's thinking about the masturbation topic because that's what they're talking about. And she was told to, quote unquote, by Che, step her pussy up, which, what the hell does that even mean? And how is that not a sexist thing to say to a cisgendered woman? I don't know. I just feel like it's just an inappropriate comment to make, period. But hey, what do I know? Anyway, I just really like to see classic shots like this. And then Kerry, oh my goodness, Kerry goes up to Big and is like, do you masturbate? And he's like, no. And she's like, yeah, just masturbate. Just do it in front of me and pretend like I'm not even here. And it just gets awkward, but he's so cool. He plays it off so well.
Do you masturbate?
Another classic scene, if you're a Sex and the City fan, you will remember the scene where Kerry goes up to the window. She has the short hair. She sees the pink Manolos and she goes, hello, lover, and says she needs them for her big date night on the town where Big's leaving New York and then Miranda has the baby. you know, it's just a classic scene and I love it. Oh, my goodness, every time I see Big now, it just makes me so sad because I know what's going to happen. But cut to him smoking a cigar. He's watching Kerry as she's about to leave for the piano recital, Lily's piano recital. He's staying home to do his workout on the Peloton bike. He's so classy. Anyways, he's looking at her and she's like, oh, do you notice the shoes I'm wearing? And she's wearing the famous wedding shoes that he proposes to her with. And he's like, of course I do. And then he's staring at her and she's like, whoa, what are you looking at? And he's like, I'm just looking at you. I love looking at you. And they have this beautiful little interaction and he's so charming and he's so sweet. And every time I see him in this episode, it just really breaks my heart. Boo. So sad. Cut to Lily's piano recital. Everyone's starting to show up. We have Rose wearing a little t-shirt, tuxedo t-shirt over the dress as a protest to her mother. She looks super cute anyway. I love it. And here we have Stanford Blatch, my favorite, Carrie's best friend, and just a lovely character on Sex and the City and on Just Like That. Rest in peace, Willie Garson. I'm sure he was super missed on the remaining episodes of Sex and the City. Low-key, I'm really upset how they wrote him off the show, but we'll get into that in later episodes. I just really want to say again, condolences to his family, to the people on the show. Just, I'm sure he'll be missed by so many people, and his character will really be missed on the show. Stanford Blatch was incredible. And in later, further in the episodes, they kind of have Anthony kind of stepping in for him, which I feel like is a little disrespectful. Speaking of Anthony, we have Kerry in the middle of what seems to be a fight. As soon as Anthony sees Stanford, he goes off on him about taking too long to pick a suit, etc. But it's like, it's Stanford. You know Stanford has to look perfect. He has to match everything a certain way. That's who Stanford is. Take it or leave it. Why do you want to change him just because you're married? I don't know. I never really understood them getting together. Like, I kind of understand it for the show's sake, but in real life, I just feel like they're super mismatched for each other, but that's just my opinion. Okay, so we have another favorite of mine, Steve. We're finally seeing Steve for the first time, showing up to the recital with Miranda. And oh my goodness, I just have to say, there's this other YouTuber, Real Housewives Reacts. I'm pretty sure that's the name of her channel. And she's always like, justice for Steve. And I totally agree. Like, justice for Steve. They made him deaf. They made him like feeble. He's always like, huh? What's going on? I don't know what's going on. I can't hear anything. I'm old. I'm old. I'm old. And it's like, you're not that old. And that's Brady in the back, their teenage son now, who's super disgusting, in my opinion, and just rude, and he has no manners. It's ridiculous. Like, look at this picture of Steve. Justice for Steve. What is going on here? Like, why does he even look like that? He looks absolutely terrified. Like, I just can't. Poor Steve. Steve is a good guy. Steve is the guy who's not a cheater. I mean, he did that one time, but hey, circumstances, and he's such a good guy. Like, why does this show, even before Sex and the City, always make him out to just be like this loser and this lame? Like, the good guy is the lame and the bad guy is like the catch. No, Steve is a good guy. This is a guy that they shouldn't have written this way. It made him, he's 55, not 87. I don't get it. Okay, so everyone has arrived and they're taking their seats at Lily's piano recital. And it's like this big deal, classy place. And Miranda pulls out a bunch of little mini liquor bottles from her purse and is passing it around. And then we have Lily playing the piano. It's absolutely beautiful. You don't expect her to come out and be just so incredible playing this role. She's so young. She did such an amazing job. I'm honestly so impressed. Her piano playing here, it was just such a beautiful scene. It's really impactful with what's about to happen in these next couple scenes. Okay, so again, I'm sad. We have Mr. Big. He's on his Peloton. He's doing his workout. Everything seems fine. He's having his water. He just finished. He's about to go take a shower. It's just sad because you're just waiting for it. It's really just sad. Okay, so he goes to text Kerry, and I can't remember what the text message that he said to her. It was like, oh, let's go to the Hamptons tonight because they were supposed to go earlier, but they didn't. Kerry wanted to go to the recital. Anyways, he falls down. He's having this heart attack. It's super sad. Like, honestly, it made me want to cry watching it. It was super, super sad and traumatic. Then we cut to Lily, and she's just doing this super dramatic piano scene. It really does heighten the mood and the emotions. And as much as it's heartbreaking, it really did make it dramatic and give it that theatrical effect. Okay, so clearly Big has had a heart attack. He's sitting on the floor of his shower, his phone's behind him. This is the devastating moment where we know it's over. It's over for Mr. Big, as well as the recital being over. We have Lily, who did an amazing job. She looks beautiful. She played beautiful. It's incredible. An incredible scene overall. Then we have Carrie, who took her sweet time getting home. Obviously, she didn't know what was going on, but it's like everything that could happen did. She walks in the door and she just stares at him. He's still sitting up, but she just stares at him for like a full minute. I was screaming at the TV. I'm like, Carrie, are you serious? We know he has heart conditions from Sex in the City. He's had surgery. Why would you not give him an aspirin and call 911? And then you hold him. Give him an aspirin, call 911, and then you hold him. It's like she already decided, well, that's it. It's over. I'll just hold him and whatever. I get it. It's a show, whatever. So anyway, she holds him and they have their final moment together, and it's very sweet and it's super sad. I low-key started crying, and the very end of the scene, she says, and just like that, Big died. Oh my goodness. Like, it's just, I can't get over it. It's so heartbreaking. We've been waiting for them to get together forever. They finally get together. Things are perfect, or so it seems. And then he freaking dies. And they almost made it seem like it could have been preventable because he had wanted to go to the Hamptons, and Kerry kind of convinced him, you know, we have to stay for Lily's recital. So kind of against his will, he's like, yeah, of course, babe, it's all good. I'll just stay home that night and you do your thing. And then his last message to her was on his phone saying, let's go to the Hamptons. It's just so sad. It's so sad. Okay, and that's the end of episode number 1 of And Just Like That. I really hope to have the next one up next week. But yeah, until then, tell me what you think. How do you feel about Mr. Big dying? Are you as devastated as I am? What do you think about the outfits? How do you feel about Sam not being in it anymore? Did you watch the first episode? Tell me what you think's going to happen next. I'm really interested to hear from you guys. And again, please like, comment, and subscribe. I love you all so much. Take care.